Welcome to week 4 of our Complete Beginners course. It is a progressive course, so if you haven't done weeks 1, 2, and 3, please go back and do that, otherwise you might get a little bit lost in today's class. The theme of today's class is the fourth of the yamas. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got a link to the podcast below which will go through all of this, as I just won't have time to do that and the physical things in one place. So listen to the podcast if you want a little bit of background about what I'm talking about. So, week 4 is energetic continence, which might sound really weird. And there's a couple of different interpretations of this, but the one that I want to go with today is the idea that we only have so much energy. And it's really easy to go through your day just thinking that you should have the same amount of energy every day. But obviously, and this kind of concept is really obvious, but just because something's obvious doesn't mean that we don't need reminding of it from time to time. Because even though this is probably the most obvious of the yamas, it is the one that I know that I personally struggle with a lot, because I tend to think that my energy should be the same every day, or I forget that I'm doing stuff that's depleting my energy and I'm not doing stuff that's putting energy back. And when I'm talking about energy, I literally just mean, how much can you be bothered to do stuff? How much gas do you have in your tank to get the stuff that you need doing done? And every day we wake up and we have a certain amount of gas in our tank, and we do some things to fill ourselves up, and we do some things to deplete that gas. And it's very easy to get that balance off if we're mindless about it. So, energetic continence is just that reminder to maybe look at what's going on in your life and think, am I adding energy or am I taking energy away? And we can do that in our yoga practice as well. When we step on our mat, it's important that we really do keep in mind, am I needing to burn some energy? Am I needing to something energetic, or am I needing something to restore myself? So let's get started with the physical practice. We're going to start sitting down, lengthen up through the back, come to any position that's comfortable for you. Relax the shoulders. Maybe look down towards the floor, or even close your eyes. I want you to just check in with yourself. And without any judgment, maybe notice how much energy you have to give to today's session. Are you needing it to be more restorative? Are you needing to take things a bit slower today? And that's completely fine. Do you have a bit of energy to burn? And you're looking to build some strength there. And we're going to tune into our breath, just noticing the natural rise and fall of the breath. If you can, breathe in through the nose, breathe out through the nose. And we're going to do a breathing technique called the golden thread breath. And I want you to breathe in through the nose and out through the mouth, through gently parted lips, like you're blowing bubbles with a bubble wand. Now, you don't need to force this. Most of the time when people have issues with breathing exercises, it's just because they're trying too hard. So you don't need to force it out. It's not like we're doing a Pilates breath or anything like that. We're just breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Try and keep your lips, your jaw, everything soft. And as you're breathing in, imagine that you're breathing in brand new energy. And as you're breathing out, imagine that you're letting go Have any tension or stress in the body. You might even want to say to yourself as you breathe in, I arrive. And as you breathe out, I relax. One more breath like this. And then open your eyes. And we're going to start to bring the breath and the movements together. So as you're breathing in, I want you to reach the arms up over the head. And as you're breathing out, I want you to bring the hands down in front of the chest. And just go completely at your own breath rhythm, your own time here. Breathing in, sweep the arms up. Breathing out, bring the hands down. Just go at your own pace there. Breathing in, arms come up. And out, arms come down. Let's do one more like this. And then the next time you come up to the top, as you're breathing out, I want you to come over to the right. So let your fingertips come down to the floor. Now, what tends to happen here is that your shoulder comes up towards the ear. Just relax that down and stretch all the way through. Keep both of your bum cheeks on the floor. And then as you're breathing in, you're going to reach the arms up. And as you're breathing out, you're going to go over to the other side. And just go completely at your own pace. Remember, there's nowhere in particular you need to be. Very nice. Let's do one more. And then this time, when you come all the way up, I want you to just roll the shoulders down and back a few times. And just check into your shoulders, to your neck, and let's see if we can relax that. And then you're going to take your right hand to your left knee and bring your left hand behind. So I think we did this in last week's classes. You're going to relax the shoulders down, lengthen up through the back, and take some big deep breaths right into the side of the body. And it's really important here that we don't force this. And then you're coming back to the center. And let's do the same on the other side. So you're going to bring your other hand down. Now, because we're used to doing gym classes and PE and pushing ourselves really hard, it can be quite strange to come into the mindset of yoga where we're not trying to push ourselves. So be kind to yourself. If you do find, come back to the center. If you do find yourself staying in that mindset, don't be frustrated with yourself for not being kind. And then we're going to make our way to our hands and knees. So as always, if you have a cushion or a blanket that you want to pop under your knees, please do. Life's too short to have bony knees against the floor. And you're going to bring the tops of the feet on the mat. Have your hands directly under your shoulders. And again, we're going to do something we did last week, which is a cat-cow. So you're going to start from your tailbone, tuck your tailbone under, and we're going to ripple one vertebrae at a time, like there's a piece of string between your shoulder blades, and you're going to come up into a cat stretch. Let the back of the head release. And then again, starting from the tailbone, we're going to go one vertebrae at a time, lifting through the chest, shoulders come back, look forward into a cow pose. Let's go between the two. Breathing out as you round. Breathing in as you extend. Let's do one more like that. Breathing out as you round. Breathe in as you extend, and then we're going to go to a child's pose. So you're going to bring your big toes together, widen your knees, send your bum all the way back towards your heels, and bring your forehead down towards the floor. And as always, it doesn't matter if your forehead doesn't get down towards the floor. It doesn't matter if your bum doesn't come all the way to the heels. This is just the direction that they're going in. It doesn't mean they need to get there. And we're going to take a couple of breaths here. So child's pose, the intention behind it is for it to be a restful pose. If you don't find this restful, feel free to come out of it and bring your forearms down to the floor and do polar bear like we did last week. One more big breath here. And then we're going to come all the way back up to hands and knees. And then we're going to make our way all the way up to standing. So take as many movements as you need to make there. And you're going to make your way up to standing. And we're going to go over our warrior one that we did earlier on in the course. So you're going to take your right foot and you're going to step it back, turn the heel slightly in, toes slightly out, and have your hips facing forward. Try and line your hips up with your shoulders, so you're not bringing the shoulders forwards or back, they're lined straight up. And then you're going to bend your front leg so your knees coming in line with the heel. Now remember, we're not wanting to let any water come out the front of that bucket. So you're going to measure how far this leg goes back by how easy it is to keep your bucket neutral. The minute it starts to pour, you've probably brought that leg too far back. So you're going to measure that up. And then we're going to reach both of our arms up into the air. Relax the shoulders down. Really spread through the fingertips and maybe even close your eyes here. Feeling this pose from the inside. Bring the arms down and we're going to go for a hamstring stretch. So a stretch in the front, in the back of this front leg. So I want you to straighten out this leg. Now what often happens here is that when you straighten out this leg, you kind of want to lock it out. But we don't want to force the leg straight. You want to have it straight, but not locked out. So it should feel really stable. Bring the hands onto the hips for now. And we're going to do a forward fold here. So remember that rope around your hips. And then you're going to breathe in as you look up towards the ceiling and reach up and over the rope. And as you're breathing out, I want you to come forward from your hips, coming as far as you can with a flat back. So it might only be a couple of inches for you, and that's fine. Or you might be able to come quite a long way. Now, as you come forward, what might happen is the hip that's the same as the back leg might want to start to open up to the side. But see if you can move that back hip forward slightly, the front hip back slightly, so your hips are still pointing forward. And then you're going to come as far as you can with a flat back and then let yourself release over the legs. Now, if you've got long arms, you might want to place the hands onto the floor. But if you do place the hands onto the floor, just be wary that your body is always looking for shortcuts. So the minute that you put your hands on the floor, you're going to find that you want to put weight into the hands. So see if you can just make sure you're not putting any weight into the fingers. It's a balance as well, so if you are wobbling around, that's why. And then you're just going to make a little bit of contact with the floor with your heels, so we're not just working through the toes, and you're going to come all the way back up. Absolutely lovely. Let's swap sides. So you're going to bring your feet together and we're going to just swing from side to side a few times just to let go of any tension we might have created there. Remember, yoga is a marathon, not a sprint. And then go from the other side. So you're going to bring your other leg back. Let's just check in. Just because you went so far on one side doesn't mean that's exactly where you're going to go on the other side. So your hips are facing forward. Bend into that front knee. Just check that the knee isn't rolling to the side. And then let's reach both of the arms into the air. And if you want to give yourself a balance challenge, close the eyes and see how this pose feels from the inside. Let's bring the arms down, place the hands onto the hips, straighten out that front leg. Just be careful that we don't lock it out. Breathe in as you look up towards the ceiling, and then let's hinge over this imaginary rope. Coming halfway, you can always place your hands on the wall if you want to, or onto the back of a chair. And then we're going to hinge forward halfway, and then maybe bring the hands down towards the floor. Don't worry if they don't come to the floor. If you need to have them kind of hanging, that's fine. It really does depend on how long your arms are. Big deep breaths here. And then let's ground through the feet as we come all the way back up. Let's step the feet together and swing the arms from side to side. We're going to do a warrior two position, which we've done in a couple of classes already. So you're going to step your right foot back, open up to the long end of the mat. But this time I want you to straighten out that front leg. So that might mean you need to have your feet a little bit closer together than you would in a normal warrior two, and that's absolutely fine. Make sure this back foot is ever so slightly turned in towards the front. It doesn't need to be a long way, just a ever so slight turn. And we're going to have the hands on the hips. Roll the shoulders down and back here. I want you to place your back hand onto your back hip, and then you're going to reach your front hand forward. Now we're going to have a little look at these hips here. So there's two ways to do this, but for the beginners one, I want you to let this hip drop slightly and let this hip rise slightly. So it's not a dump, and you're definitely not pouring all that water out the front of your bucket. It's just a very slight bringing this hip down and lifting this back hip up. I'm going to bring that front arm forward, and I want you to reach through both sides of the waist. So imagine that you've suddenly got a spring in your place between your hips and your ribs, and you are lengthening through the spring. And then we're going to let that front hand come down. So you don't have to come down very far at all. You're only coming as far down as you can. Keep yourself flush to the long end of the mat, and you're not starting to roll forward. And then you're going to bring that top arm up into the air. Now, the urge here is to come down really far, but what tends to happen is as you come down, you kind of twist. So see if you can keep up quite high. And this is going to work the strength in the legs. Lengthen through both sides of the waist here. And then let's come all the way back up. Let's bring the arms down. Give yourself a little wiggle. And then we're going to step the feet together and give yourself a little swing from side to side. So we're going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to change direction just because it means that I'm still facing the camera. So let's line ourselves up, maybe straighten out both of your legs. Just try not to lock this knee out. Bring your hands onto your hips. Roll the shoulders down and back and reach that front arm forward. Now let that front hip drop ever so slightly and lift that back hip. And we're going to come forward. Very nice. Keep lifting out through both sides of the waist and try not to stick your bum out. So it's lengthening through the back of the body. And then bring that hand down and maybe reach your top arm up into the air. This is a harder pose than it looks. I would rather that you were really stable and you had a smaller space between the legs and you weren't coming down as far. Big deep breaths. And then come all the way back up. Let's step the feet together at the front of the mat and give yourself a little swing from side to side. We're going to make our way all the way down onto the mat. And we're going to bring the soles of the feet together and let the knees come out to the side. Now, if you need any support under your knees, that's absolutely fine. Or you might even want to hold behind the back of the knees. Play with the distance between your groin and your heels until you find a spot that feels really comfortable for you. Now, what you don't want here is for this tailbone to roll under because it's just going to go into the lower back and you're actually going to lose it in the groin. So if you want to sit yourself up on a blanket or a cushion, or if you've got a yoga block, maybe on a yoga block, and the further the feet are away from the groin, the easier it is going to be to keep that straight back. So you experiment with that. And when you've found the perfect position, you're going to relax the shoulders down, relax the jaw, close the eyes. And let's tune into our breath. And then let's open the eyes and we're going to hinge forward. Be really careful of the knees here. We don't want to be bending in the knees, so we're only hinging forward if it feels nice. The alternative is to place the hands on the floor and lift up through the chest like this. Or we're going to hinge forward from the hips, keeping a lovely long back. You're going to come as far as you can with a flat back and then let the back of the head relax. We're going to hold this. Lovely steady breath. And then come all the way back up. Let's extend the legs. Give yourself a little wiggle. And then we're going to cross the legs again. Bring one hand on the chest, one hand on the belly. Let's reconnect to our breath here. And as you're breathing in, just let the bottom of the belly rise, the bottom of the belly fall. And then let the hands come back down towards the knees. And we're going to come to lie on our backs for a little sequence on the back. So make your way down onto your back. And then we're going to pick up the right leg and you're going to hug your right knee in towards the chest. And you can stay here if you want, or you can extend your left leg away and let the foot relax out to the side. Now we don't want to, again, we don't want to be pulling the knee in so tight that we're, our bum's lifting off the floor or we're feeling anything in the knee. And then bring that leg down. Let's swap sides. Hug your other knee in. Extend your leg away. Big breath. Long, slow, low breath. And then bring the feet flat on the floor. And you're going to cross your right leg over your left knee. Letting your right knee come to the side. This is called a figure four stretch. It's really good for stretching out the bum muscles, your glutes, your piriformis. You're very welcome to stay like this, or if you can't feel it in the knee, you're going to bring your left leg in to hug it in. And when I say you can't feel it in the knee, you don't want to feel it in the knee. If you can feel it in the knee, back away from it. Bring that leg down. And let's swap sides. Bring your other leg in. Knee come to the side. And if you want to, you're going to hug the leg in towards the chest. Steady breath. Bring that leg down, and we're going to come into our relaxation position of choice. So if you want to lie flat on your back, you can, or you might want to prefer to sit up, or just lie however you're comfortable, really. Traditionally, Shavasana is done with the legs extended, hands by the side, palms facing upwards. So if it's physically, emotionally, and mentally comfortable for you to do this, I would suggest this is what you do, but obviously we're all different and we have different needs on different days. And when you've come to your relaxation position, we're going to give ourselves permission to have a moment where you don't have to think, feel, do, or be anything in particular, and exist exactly as you are. And think of something that fills your cup. Maybe that's talking to a friend, doing your art,
eaten a nutritious meal, think of something that you really enjoy. And sometimes that can be difficult to find. So think, if you were to babysit you when you were little, what activity would you plan? And then just make a promise to yourself to do that activity soon. Take a big deep breath in. Start to wiggle your fingers and toes.
Do any little stretches your body craves. And in your own time, come up to a seated position and just rub your hands together. And when you've got some warmth there, just place that over your face and over the back of your neck and let that go with you for the rest of the day. And don't forget to like and subscribe. I know it's annoying when YouTube people say that, but it makes such a difference. And if you let me know